Christina, good to see you for the first time this season. And I'm not even sure where to start today because we've got so many questions for you. But I suppose let's start at the Bernabeu with the winning penalty for Real Madrid and how we got there in the end, because that handball from Marseille, was that the right decision to give a penalty for it? Because it looked like he couldn't do much else to get his arms out the way.
Yeah, Poppy, you hit on the head. I don't like this decision given from the referee on the field, and I don't like the fact that VAR did not recommend to overturn it, right? So there's been a lot of chatter as to, this handling offense here. As you see, it contacts his left of his arm, closer to his elbow, a little bit more towards his forearm. But here, what we're taking a look at is not a bracing arm, quote unquote. People have been talking about, oh, it's his bracing arm. It's not a handling offense. That's not the reality of it, because a bracing arm is usually when you're slide tackling, it's underneath between your body and your arm is there before the ball gets there. Here it's clear that the ball is already there and he's coming down on top of it. But the difference is now we're talking about whether this was a deliberate handling offense or not. Was he in a natural silhouette? Was he in a natural position? And for me, the most important part, he's also making a stop, a break. He's challenging for the ball. He's defended it. And we now have in the interpretation about 2 years ago, we've brought it back into interpretation, is time, distance, and who played that ball. So for me, I don't like this as handling on the decision. There would probably be some back and forth on VAR, whether it's clear and obvious, but I think the preference was clear and obvious is the preferred decision to send it down to overturn the penalty.
You boys in agreement with that? None of you like that the penalty 100%. Was given?
I mean, listen, if we're going to have a good show, let's call it what it is. This is robbery. It's Real Madrid in the Champions League. It happens all the time. We see it over and over again. How four guys could sit in a VAR room, and see this and say, yeah, I still think that's a penalty, you got to start to say it's ridiculous now. And it affects the game because Marseille, with a man up with 10, 15 minutes to go, could get something out of the game. I thought they performed good enough to get a point on the road, and they were robbed. That's what it is.
Are you saying that that's because it's Real Madrid?
It seems to happen to Real Madrid all the time, but four guys sitting in a VAR booth and looking at that penalty, I don't know how you can say. The referee, fine, he's in the stadium, it's loud, it's noisy, he's running to the booth, he's got players in his face. Fine, he might get it wrong, and it's a bang-bang play. Four guys sitting it's your job, four guys sitting there watching that clip in slow motion say, yeah, we all agree that's a penalty. That's crazy.
Well, I suppose, Christina, they did have one kind of go against, and that was Dani Carvajal. Here's just a look at the incident, because headbutt seems a strong term to use, doesn't it? But was this a red card for you?
Yes, this does fall under a red card offense, and here we have violent conduct for the specific one of it, right? So is it a full, gear back, kind of a Zinedine Zidane headbutt? The answer is no, but because he's still moving and stepping into that direction, he's still putting his head forward. Obviously, the keeper embellishment doesn't necessarily help, but this is what we would consider a preferred decision as to, yes, red card, send it down, violent conduct, and would be a miss if VAR didn't send. As you can see, the referee was dealing with other players, so did not have the ability to see it. But yeah, it's a stone cold penalty, stone cold red card, violent conduct.
Christina, with this one, how many games suspended will he get? Do you know offhand, or?
Yeah, no, the general rule of thumb is violent conduct situations are 2-game suspensions. There can always be an argument for below or above. And the reason why it's a 2-game as opposed to a regular red card, that's 1 game for serious foul play, is because naturally the ball's not in play. It's something that they kind of want to kick out of the game. So Champions League kind of runs similar to how we do here in the United States with, Major League Soccer, et cetera, that it's by definition a 2-card suspense unless they appeal it and it gets appeased.
So if he gets them better and gets them hard, let's say knocks some teeth out, let's just say, it's still a 2-game suspension?
Yeah, I mean, it could be considered aggravated and maybe bring it up because he's missing the teeth. But yeah, I think, Grella, if you're going to that point, if you're going to do it,
you might as well get your money's worth.
So that's what I was going to ask you.
Get your money's worth.
He should have got his money's worth.
Absolutely.
That's a Grella question.
Absolutely.
That's a Grella question.
It's such a Grella question.
But you can't think that was nothing. It still was a head, but yeah, okay, it was.
Of course, it looks wrong, and the second he nips him, there's barely any contact.
Can't do that, though.
You can't do that, though.
Grella, let me ask, if someone did that to you while you were playing, you would have reacted in the exact same way and gone down?
Of course. Whatever it takes to win the game at that moment, of course.
Okay.
Poppy Grella didn't even need that.
You would have done worse.
We've seen what you've done in our games that we played.
I would have said, no problem, Carvajal. We'll see you after the game.
I'll see you after the game, yeah.
Marco, what about in Turin, though? You have a few questions about the Juve game.
I mean, you're talking about robbery, and for me, there's obviously Real Madrid is a bigger team, so there's a lot of talk about them, but there's also some controversial moments, a few controversial moments in the Borussia Dortmund match against Juventus. The penalty for Dortmund, and then the non-call for Juventus.
Yeah. So taking a look at this one, right? This is the one that was called, right? Penalty was given for this. And this is where, now this is where we can have these conversations of, was it a bracing arm? Was he down on the ground? But none of these things are black and white, right? They're factor tests, right? They balance out here. Anytime you have a shot on goal, it increases the chance of the likelihood of it being a handling offense, because you're basically using your body to make yourself bigger. So we don't call this one a bracing because it's not tucked tight underneath his body. If anything, he's extended his body out a little bit longer. So this penalty decision is something that we want called and what we would expect, because even though it's underneath them to a certain extent, he's still reaching out. He's making himself bigger on a shot on goal that was low on, and this is what we're considering unacceptable.
Christina, I understand the rules, but I'm asking for logic here. Where else is Lloyd Kelly supposed to put his arms? He's trying to obviously extend his body so he can make himself more of a barrier to protect the goal. Where is he supposed to put his arms? I can understand extending the arm away from the body, but he looks like he's trying to look after himself on the way down as well.
Yeah, he is. And I mean, this is where if, you were to give instructions to a player, like, how do we want to go down on these, right? When you are extending, you have the right to be able to defend, is when you're sliding in with your right arm tucked in, right? If you take a look at his movement, as soon as he started sliding, he flips his body over and he has both arms extended out, as opposed to a slide tack, like a sliding movement, and then keeping his arms in tight. So if we want to say anything, it should basically be his body's parallel, his chest is towards the ball, his left arm would be on the top of his body and the right underneath as a brace. That is more of an argument to say not penalty, but as soon as he makes that twist, turn, convolts his body, and he kind of is like a Superman movement, right? That's where we say, now you're kind of just gaming it.
Okay, I'll accept that one. But what about the one that's not given for Juventus in the 33rd minute, another handball potential? Was this the right call from the referee?
This one I don't like, and this one is one where I kind of did and confirm that there is not. You guys would appreciate it, those with understanding the snickology. It's called the connected ball technology within a ball. It's to know whether or not that hit his hand, as you can see right there. It's basically on his right fist, and you can see the movement of the ball before it hits the head. Here, this should have been called and sent down from VAR, because as soon as his arm is extended above his shoulder for that jumping motion, pretty much 99.9%, never 100%, but 99.9%, that's a handling offense. There's no need for him to extend his arm above his shoulder. And you can see that slight movement of the ball enough, but still a slight movement. It just needs to touch his hand. That should have been a penalty for handling offense in and of itself. What I meant by the connected technology and the snickometer was, right, those are slight movements. Whenever you have that ball sensor, which we do not have in Champions League, let me clarify, those things really kind of give that credence to it. But we don't have that here, but the video camera is still conclusive enough to show that should have been recommended down for a penalty.
You don't like that, Marco?
I agree with
Okay.
Christina. It changes the game. At 0-0, the entire outcome could be different. So similar to the Real Madrid one, I feel hard done by.
And I want to say also, the second one about the Lloyd Kelly one, I listened to you and I changed my opinion. It was a really good explanation. So I do listen sometimes.
Wow.
You're on the money tonight.
Okay.
You're on the money tonight.
I thought Grella was going to get on the ground and do another
best.
thing where he lied on the ground. I think that was Serie.
Only if I need to.
I love it. Christina, thanks so much. Good to see you. I'm sure we'll see you tomorrow or on Thursday at some point.
Or the rest of the season. Looking forward to it, everyone. Speak soon.